Nibiru doom? Planet X is coming. But not when you think, shock claim. Nibiru is due for a devastating pass of the Earth, but not as soon as has been claimed, a seasoned researcher declared not long before he died. Online end-of-the-world prophets have been predicting for months the mythical planetary system will pass us this year, or early next year. The Nibiru theory was linked to the beginning of the end of the world by Christian fundamentalists, who believed the rapture would start on September 23 and was connected to celestial activity as interpreted from passages in the Bible. But with the world still turning, veteran conspiracy theorist Jim Marrs claimed anyone saying Nibiru was coming in the next year or so was wrong. Speaking in an episode of Ancient Aliens New World Order, before he died of a heart attack, aged 73, in August, Mr. Marrs said Nibiru was not predicted to pass us until 2060, giving us more than 40 years to prepare. He said, Nibiru is destined to return to the vicinity of the Earth in 2060, so it could be on its way to our solar system now. Some people believe this is why we have the highly erratic weather and environmental changes that we see taking place on the Earth. Of course the government acts like nothing is going on, but what else is new? Nibiru believers are convinced the rogue system is making its way from the outer solar system inwards, where it will wreak havoc on Earth as it passes at about 4 million miles away. They say the planet will cause the poles to switch, sparking great earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, which threaten billions of lives. The Nibiru theory emerged in 1976, when writer Zecharia Sitchin claimed two ancient Middle Eastern cultures, the Babylonians and Sumerians, told of a giant planet called Nibiru that orbited the Sun. Mr. Sitchin came up with the conspiracy theory after claiming to have deciphered cuneiform writing on ancient Sumerian tablets. Ancient language scholar Mr. Sitchin said the records showed the Sumerians knew of an extraplanet beyond Pluto called Nibiru. Theorists say according to Mr. Sitchin's teachings the next pass of Earth will take place around 2060. Not everyone agrees with Mr. Sitchin's interpretation of the texts. In a scientific paper on the myth, Michael S. Heiser, a Hebrew Bible and ancient Semitic languages PhD student of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, wrote, "Is Sitchin correct? Is Nibiru a 12th planet that passes through our solar system every 3,600 years? Did the Sumerians know this? Are those who equate Sitchin's Nibiru with Planet X correct in this view?" Unfortunately for Sitchin and his followers, the answer to each of these questions is no. NASA, and a host of other scientists have debunked Nibiru as myth. All these dates for the end of the world came and went, because as NASA points out, Nibiru is a myth and a hoax, despite the amount of believers. NASA scientist Dr. David Morrison said, "There is no credible evidence whatever for the existence of Nibiru. There are no pictures, no tracking, no astronomical observations. I can quite specifically say how we know Planet X or Nibiru does not exist and does not threaten Earth. Firstly, if there was a planet headed into the inner solar system that was going to come close to the Earth, it would already be inside the orbit of Mars, it would be bright, it would be easily visible to the naked eye, if it was up there it would be easy to see it, all of us could see it." Space boffin Dr. Brian Cox has also insisted Planet X does not exist. And Associate Professor John D. Horner, an astronomer at the University of Southern Queensland in Australia, said, "I've never heard of anybody who's an actual astronomer talk about Nibiru before. It's basically an urban myth. It's like having a biologist coming out and talking about werewolves and the Sasquatch being real. You just wouldn't hear it."
There have not been that many explanations even attempted over the last 150 years. It's naturally explained by Planet 9 being exactly where we think Planet 9 is, which it's one of these mysteries that we think is now solved. That's been such a mystery that people haven't even really talked about it very much over the last 150 years because it's just been so difficult to think of what it is.
It has been known since the mid-1800s that the sun is tilted. Over the years, people have put forth various explanations for it. One possibility is that the sun was interacting with the protoplanetary disk via magnetic fields. It's also possible that the disk was just asymmetrical from the beginning. And it's also possible that the sun actually had a stellar companion a long time ago.
It was a moment of inspiration. Not all projects start out this way. Not all results really come. Some of them come, it slowly dawns on you. We were sitting in Constantine's office one afternoon and we were actually thinking about a different problem entirely, which is how Planet 9 would interact with these very distant objects in the Kuiper belt that made us originally think that Planet 9 was there. And in just a moment, as we're thinking about it, and we're doing this with our hands, trying to think of directions things are going, I think we both realized at about the same time. It's like, oh, it's going to make the sun look tilted too. And it was very clear from the way we did our fingers that it was going to make an effect. What we didn't know until we did the calculations was how much of an effect was it going to have and in what direction was it going to go. But we knew it had to do something.
Planet 9 has been scattered out into the distant solar system. So because it has an orbital period that's so long, it has an enormous amount of angular momentum, right? As much almost as the rest of the solar system combined. So even though as an object it is not as massive as Jupiter, it has a huge lever bar. Okay? And using that lever bar, it can effectively torque the rest of the disk of the solar system by 6 degrees over the age of the sun.
Next, always next on our list is find the planet. We think we have it narrowed down to a pretty small patch in the sky that we have to look at. Small patch in the sky still means we need many, many nights on the telescope. We're pretty convinced that by maybe the end of next winter, we will have been able to cover enough sky that we'll actually be able to find it. When we find it, we both show that this hypothesis has been correct, we learn about it, but we also see how much of the sun, how it should have tilted the sun too, and see if this is the only thing that's been tilting the sun or if other things are around doing it. When we looked at the outer solar system, we realized that while most of the very distant objects, these objects beyond Neptune, beyond Pluto, most of these objects, they all go around the sun and they're all sort of pointing off in all different directions. But the most distant objects all swing out in one direction in a very strange way that shouldn't happen. And we realized that the only way we could get them to all swing in one direction is if there is a massive planet also very distant in the solar system, keeping them in place while they all go around the sun. And we started looking at this and thinking, this must be either a coincidence or it's caused by something else. It can't be caused by a planet because that's crazy. There are no planets out there. I went from trying very hard to be skeptical that what we were talking about was true to suddenly thinking, oh, this actually might even be true.
So the object itself likely is more massive than the Earth, probably a little bit less massive than Neptune. It sits right in between that terrestrial to giant icy planet range. Its orbit, unlike the orbits of the known planets, is not nearly circular and planar. Instead, it is exceptionally wide, 20 times bigger than the orbit of Neptune. The orbital period of the Earth is, of course, 1 year. Right? The orbital period of Jupiter, the big player in our solar system, is about 10 years. The orbital period of this putative 9th planet is 20,000 years.
We have nothing like it in the solar system, so it's new for us. It is, however, the most common mass of planets that have been found around all of the other stars. People have always looked at all these other planets in this strange mass range and said, wow, I wonder what these are. I don't know what these are because we don't have anything like it in the solar system. Looks like maybe we do. I'm really hoping that as we announce this, people start a worldwide search to go find this 9th planet.
Again, solar stream is coming from the right. That's where the sun is. All the plasma in the blue is being blown backwards. That's a part of our protective shield here. 2 hours missing, 5:37, exactly the same time. Everything goes haywire. Come up to that point again. Everything's coming from the right. Bam. Now the black lines are our field lines. That's our magnetic field lines. Very important. They have now bent backwards at this point. People have talked about Planet X, Nibiru, Planet 7. If there's an object coming in, would it have orbiting planets? Would it have debris with it?
So this is some stuff that piqued my curiosity that I'm sharing with you here. All of this stuff will be linked. I suggest you go to the Caltech thing and watch the whole video. But anyways, I'm going to try and get through this quickly for you. Planet X to really cause mass extinction this month. This is April 9th, 2016. We're going to come down here. Thanks to science, we know that the larger the celestial body, the bigger its gravity, and consequently its ability to affect other, smaller bodies around it. We've known of Jupiter's crucial role in protecting us from asteroids for quite some time now, but the mysterious Nibiru could very well do the opposite, and some say there's good reason to believe it. We're going to come down here. A retired astrophysics professor from the University of Louisiana, Daniel Whitmire, is saying Nibiru has all but arrived to our neck of the woods, and that the destruction brought about by its gravitational trickery will take place this very April, as it's done numerous times before. Then we're going to come down here. Earlier this year, we started seeing space anomalies manifesting in a small group of objects, which have been taking on a peculiar orbit. Only something 10 times the size of the Earth, as theorized with Nibiru, could influence celestial objects in such a way, according to a study from Caltech. The anomaly was picked up on in the Kuiper Belt, which stretches all the way past Neptune, and it resurrected a 100-year debate. And then we're going to come over here, because again, this stuff just piqued my curiosity, and I wanted to share it with you. This is fire officials' reclaim report of possible meteor strike in Bowie. This is Bowie, Maryland. This was on April 25th, 2016. And we're going to come down here where this was put out by the Bowie Volunteer Fire Department. Possible meteorite strike behind Scarlet Oak Terrace causing a massive brush fire. And then we're going to come up here and see that when firefighters made it to the site, there was a large pit, which was 12 to 15 feet wide by 5 to 6 feet deep. And the fire spread to adjacent trees and brush and took approximately 15 firefighters 4 hours to extinguish. But again, they came out and said, nope, that should have never been put out. The post should have never listed a meteorite as the cause. Okay. Okay, so now we're coming over here. Was it a meteor? Solving the mystery of New Jersey's tsunami buoy. April 25th, 2016. A tsunami warning device about 200 miles off the coast of New Jersey went into event mode over the weekend, but there were no giant waves threatening the shore. There was speculation that the drop could have been triggered by a meteor because the Lyrid meteor showers were active during the weekend. There also was speculation a submarine could have struck the buoy. So again, this stuff just piqued my curiosity, want to share. We're going to move here. Okay, so now here we are, coast to coast. This was from March 30th, 2016. In the first half of the show, retired investigative researcher Bob Fletcher talked about his contention that a rogue planet X, or Nibiru, is coming our way, and the disastrous effects it could have for Earth. He first became suspicious that something was afoot when he discovered that massive amounts of money were being funneled out of the government and the Federal Reserve. He concluded that these funds were surreptitiously used for the construction and stocking of underground facilities that will house the elite and members of the New World Order, while the arrival of Planet X wreaks cataclysms upon the planet's surface. According to his sources, the knowledge of Planet X dates as far back as 1983. So again, I was just like, well, that's interesting. And so we're coming over here because I remember hearing about Rumsfeld talking about the missing $2.3 trillion that they couldn't track on September 10th. And we all know what happened on September 11th, 2001. Nobody was talking about the missing money. So I Googled just to see, and there was this one, which brought me over here. So here we are, debunked. Rumsfeld says 2.3 trillion missing from the Pentagon. In 2001, Donald Rumsfeld said, according to some estimates, we cannot track 2.3 trillion in transactions. This has been misinterpreted by many people as 2.3 trillion actually going missing. However, it's really just about the way the money was accounted for. So here's the original source. Go look at it for yourself, right? Okay. Oh, well, golly gee. Page not found. Okay, well, there was another link, right? Here, we can also see this. Huh. No input file specified, but yes, there was. So again, this was something, this has gone long, but it really, really piqued my curiosity. And I wanted to share it because, again, trying to put the pieces together. Here we are. He first became suspicious that something was afoot when he discovered that massive amounts of money were being funneled out of the government. And then, I don't know. This just made me go, that's interesting.
What we have discovered is that numerous features of the Kuiper Belt, a field of icy debris beyond the orbit of Neptune, can be understood if the solar system possesses an additional ninth planet that resides well beyond the orbits of the known planets.
When we looked at the outer solar system, we realized that while most of the very distant objects, these objects beyond Neptune, beyond Pluto, most of these objects, they all go around the sun and they're all sort of pointing off in all different directions. But the most distant objects all swing out in one direction in a very strange way that shouldn't happen. And we realized that the only way we could get them to all swing in one direction is if there is a massive planet also very distant in the solar system, keeping them in place while they all go around the sun. And we started looking at this and thinking, this must be either a coincidence or it's caused by something else. It can't be caused by a planet because that's crazy. There are no planets out there. I went from trying very hard to be skeptical that what we were talking about was true to suddenly thinking, oh, this actually might even be true.
So the object itself likely is more massive than the Earth, probably a little bit less massive than Neptune. It sits right in between that terrestrial to giant icy planet range. Its orbit, unlike the orbits of the known planets, is not nearly circular and planar. Instead, it is exceptionally wide, 20 times bigger than the orbit of Neptune. The orbital period of the Earth is, of course, 1 year. Right? The orbital period of Jupiter, the big player in our solar system, is about 10 years. The orbital period of this putative ninth planet is 20,000 years.
We have nothing like it in the solar system, so it's new for us. It is, however, the most common mass of planets that have been found around all of the other stars. People have always looked at all these other planets in this strange mass range and said, wow, I wonder what these are. I don't know what these are because we don't have anything like it in the solar system. Looks like maybe we do. There are many telescopes on the Earth that actually have a chance of being able to find it. And I think that many people will be inspired to use their telescopes. I'm really hoping that as we announce this, people start a worldwide search to go find this ninth planet.
History shows us that it's a bad idea to consistently say we have now reached the end of the solar system and there's nothing beyond what we already know.
And all those people who are mad that Pluto is no longer a planet can be thrilled to know that there's a real planet out there still to be found.
Now, I've come across some images on webcams. I do go to the Austrian webcam quite a lot, and I've come across a strange object. As the sun goes down, you see the plasma, and behind the sun, this shape appears, this red celestial shape. Now, we've seen this object on many webcams. It can't be a lens flare because a lens flare travels with the sun as it's showing on a cam or a camera. You can see this so obviously. Anyway, so let's show you this and these webcams. Okay, now this is the webcam. And what you're seeing is the plasma from the sun as it goes down at 5:06. We're seeing that pink haze as well to the left side. But let me just move the cam. You'll see this as well. Here it is. Now, indeed, something is happening because if it was a lens flare, we would see it if the sun was in the sky, not on sundown. There would be no lens flare. So, as it's going down, you can see this pink reflection cutting through, this pink colour reflecting on this machinery here as well. So let me just move onto this. Okay, what I've done is I've zoomed into the cam, so let me just try and get this to move back. Now, again, this is the plasma of the sun when it's going down. You can see that colour again, can't you? But I'm reversing the cam, okay? I'm reversing this, but you can start to see that red colour here. But as we carry on, here it is again. Something else, isn't it? Let me zoom in here. Okay. I've zoomed in, and it just is clearly something that's visible that's out there. But what really is strange is the light reflection is this way. Okay? Something else reflecting through. It can't be the moon. And also there's another reflection that's cutting through as well. Look at this pink reflection that's coming across. I believe that NASA can see this. They can see it clearly, and they don't want us to see this. It's being covered up. There's too much of a pink colour in our skies all across Earth. There's far too many people that are saying through emails that they're seeing this pink colour. So again, I mean, look on the webcams. It is really important to keep monitoring what's going on. This is the same webcam, okay? Now I've moved it down to 945. Please keep an eye on this area here, because what we're going to see is cloud formations, but there is a red celestial shape behind those clouds. If I can try and get this. Okay, now you see the cloud system, but if you look closely you can see that there's something spherical here. You can see this shape. It is strange, isn't it? And also look at the timestamp, 10:49, and when we go through the cam it gets very, very dark in the skies. 11:54, and then it goes to the 12 o'clock mark. We're still seeing a pink reflection and very, very dark skies. So whatever that is, it does indeed look very strange, doesn't it? There it is. Let me zoom into this. What I've done is I've kept the timestamp 10:49 in Austria. So we're looking at the northeast skies, but something is showing itself, isn't it? Can you see how dark it is to the right and left side here and here? Dark skies above. Just another image on a webcam that just interested me to show that there's something that's going on, because how can this object, again, you're seeing this behind the cloud formations. Okay, now we're on this different webcam as well that's in Austria. I want to show you this. It's quite interesting too, because when the this white object rises in the skies as Earth is rotating, you will see to the right hand side two other objects show themselves. Now again, you can see the timestamp there, can't you? 8:34 AM. But when the sun is moving across the sky, these other objects fade to the distance. Now again, these heavenly bodies are on an elliptical orbit. Now again, we just got to think out the box. Could be anything else, but looking at this just really interested me, because again, it can't be anything else, because if it was a flare, it would follow with the area that we would see of the sun. So let's have a look at this. See if I can move this now. Okay, this is the shot. As you're seeing the reflector that's rising to the right side, it's very, very dark. Even on the snow on the mountain, you can see a pink colour, can't you? Now we are seeing that reflector, but to the right side we're seeing something else. It's pink as well. It's a reddish colour, and it's there, isn't it? Let me zoom into this. Here it is. Now I've been to these webcams before and I've not noticed anything like that. There's no rain droplets on this webcam. It's just a clean, high definition webcam, and the skies are clear, showing again what you're seeing is something else. Now when you look at this carefully, if it was a flare, you would see it in front to this left side. You would see this again, this shine from the reflector. It's behind it. It's way out there. Something else. There's markings here and here as well. Let me carry on moving the cam, because something else happens. Okay, now I've zoomed back out again. I'm trying to move this cam, but I'm having some difficulty with it. For some reason it's slowing down. When I tap it, it's not jumping across. I've tried this several times. Let's try and get this sorted. Okay, now it's jumped across. Where you're seeing now this reflector, there's something here and here. Now, are these the objects that we saw that were here and here just a few minutes ago? Because let me just try and jump this, because it's annoying when it doesn't work. It's taking its time. Ah, there you go. Can you see these? Now, again, I've not seen these before. And then when you try and jump, I hope it does work, I really do. Just try and get this to jump back again. It's taking its time. I apologise about this, I really do. Here we go. There it is again. But the skies here are dark as well. This is at 15:07. Now, I've spoke about the 3 o'clock time as well, where the skies become dark too. So let me just zoom into these here. Now, the thing that really gets me going on this situation is that we're seeing some cloud formations just here. That's in front. It's in front of these shapes. I mean, look at the shape of these objects. Now again, indeed, a lens flare would not do this. It would move and follow that we see of the sun. It wouldn't just go behind it and disappear on the horizon. Now, again, I've looked at other images and photos and footage and seen this red-pink haze that shows itself on the horizon and goes down to the northeast skies. But again, we just got to think out the box. It could be the moon, it could be Jupiter, it could be anything. So let me just try and get this back again. Here it is here. Let me just zoom back out. Okay, well, again, we've got to think out the box. So I'm now going to finish off this video, and I'm going to work on the next video to show all the images coming through, because the truth needs to come out, because we're not getting any answers off news media, are we? No answers at all. So take care, and I'll be back very, very shortly from Matt Rogers.